It's going to be a truly unique ship, and it's absolutely massive. The Panther Clipper has at least 1,000 ton cargo capacity, and it's going to be a ship that's very much worth looking forward to. It's going to be very special indeed. Now, Frontier today have released a whole bunch of information about the ship. It come via their latest live stream of Frontier Unlocked, and these details were provided to me a little earlier via the Elite Dangerous partner program. Also, on screen you can see a whole bunch of new footage for the ship, and well, I do really like this. It's got all the hallmarks of the original Panther Clipper from Frontier Elite 2, but it's also got some rather nice new modern design aesthetics as well. Right, so first up, let's talk about the information that I'm sure most of you are going to want to know, and that is the cargo capacity of the ship, because after all, this is primarily a cargo ship. For that then, we need to know the optional internals, and what we know about this is it's going to be one size 1 rack, one size 3 rack, 2 size 4s, 2 size 5s, 3 size 6s, 2 size 7s, and 2 size 8s. I'm going to list these on the screen right here. Now, where it gets particularly interesting with the Panther Clipper is that Frontier are going to be introducing new types of modules that only fit in the Panther Clipper. These are called optimized cargo racks, and they provide 50% extra capacity over standard equivalent racks of that size. These are for the size 7 and size 8 racks. So let's look at exactly what that means. Currently, a size 7 rack gives you 128 tons, a size 8 rack gives you 256 tons. Now if we increase that by 50%, the size 7 now gives you a capacity of 192 tons, and the size 8 moves all the way up to 384 tons. And this is precisely what's going to make the Panther Clipper so unique. If we consider just the 2 Class 7 optional racks and the 2 Class 8 optional racks, we get a total cargo capacity of 1,152 tons, and that's not counting the other cargo racks that are available with this ship. And yeah, that on its own places the Panther Clipper significantly above all the other ships in the game in terms of its cargo capacity. But let's add those other racks in there, the size 1, the size 3s and so on, add everything together and you get a total, the theoretical total here, of 1,450 tons. Now I'm pretty sure that all of this is accurate, but if I have made a mistake here, do let me know in the comments section, because well, I'm only human and I do make mistakes from time to time, but hopefully I've got all of this accurate. Now, there is another interesting thing here. If you don't want to use cargo racks in those slots, and you might be wondering, well, why wouldn't you with their additional 50% capacity? What you can place in them instead are dedicated fuel slots. So yeah, that's right, you can increase the fuel capacity of the Panther Clipper or the cargo rack capacity, or you can even make a mix of both. This really does open up the options for the ship very, very wide indeed. Additionally, the ship has a lot of hardpoints, so very capable of defending itself. Obviously, this isn't going to be a fighter, it's not a fighting class ship, but it will be capable of defending itself with 10 individual hardpoints. These work out as follows: 4 small, 4 medium, and 2 large. And when it comes to core internals, it's not lacking here either. The power plant is size 8, thrusters are size 8, the FSD is 7, the power distributor also 7, and the fuel tank is size 7 as well. Life support size 5, and sensors also a size 5. Moving away from the stats, we come to the visual aesthetics of the ship, and you can see right here the bridge. The bridge is much larger than we're used to seeing, and well, I don't know if there's any other purpose for this, if you're planning for the future maybe. They hint and suggest that maybe not, and perhaps imply we shouldn't really speculate, but it's hard not to when you see a ship with a bridge this broad and this wide. Either way, it gives us an absolutely spectacular view through the canopy there. The rotating engines, the pivoting engines, also give the ship a completely unique look, and these come into effect when landing. They rotate and pivot downwards, allowing the landing gear to deploy. Now, hopefully Frontier have learnt from previous mistakes, and there's enough clearance underneath the ship to drive SRVs without them getting stuck. We've seen that happen in the past on some recently released ships. Hopefully that's not going to be an issue here, but judging by the size of this ship, that's pretty hard to imagine. And in a minute you'll get a true scale for the size of this ship when the player character gets out on foot and starts walking around. There you go, you get a bit of an idea there. This is absolutely huge. Just look at the size of the engines there and the landing gear. Now obviously this ship is primarily focused on cargo hauling, but Frontier suggests that some people may want to use it for exploration, and I can certainly see that becoming a thing. Another area where it will probably excel at is mining. In fact, at this point I'd be very surprised if people don't use this for mining. A particular use case that comes to mind for me is whether you use this for hauling or whether you use it for mining. That massive cargo capacity is going to be very useful when it comes to refueling your fleet carrier. It will ultimately mean that you can do far less trips for the same purpose and get that fleet carrier fully charged up and fully stocked. In terms of release dates, this is going to be following what we've seen in the recent ship releases, where there's both a standard hull and a Stellar Edition. So the Stellar Edition will be a bit more expensive, but it will come with some additional features. So a premium black and gold livery and 6 interchangeable hull kit parts as well. So yeah, that does mean that this will be available for real world cash. You're going to have to buy it. That means it's part of the, well, I suppose we could call it the early access period before the ship is fully available in-game for in-game credits. That's usually a few months down the line after the initial release. So release date, 22nd of July. It's going to be coming a little bit before the Vanguards update, which for the moment is tentatively scheduled for early August. Although, as we know in the past, sometimes these release dates do have a tendency to slip a little bit when it comes to Elite Dangerous. But, you know, hopefully not. Hopefully they'll stay on target. So yeah, confirmation there, clarification. 2 release dates, the 22nd of July for the Panther Clipper and early August for the Vanguards update. And if you just so happen to have missed all the information on what Vanguards is all about, I'll link a video on screen here as well as in the video description on where you can learn everything you need to know about that particular update. There's also another little bit of information I do want to mention here. Those new optional components, those extra capacity cargo modules that fit only and exclusively into the Panther Clipper. This is a new specialized format slot that Frontier want to have in the future, and they said they're going to use it to diversify future ship releases. So I guess that means when it comes to combat ships, exploration ships, mining ships, whatever type of ship we see in the future, they will have specialized slot systems that will allow us to fully customize those ships for their intended purpose and their intended function. It's really a nice approach to the game. And yeah, it's another thing I'd like to see at some point in the future. We've seen a lot of new medium-sized ships. This is the first brand new large ship we're getting. But you know what? I'd also like to see some small ships. Now, small ships don't always have a particular purpose in Elite. I know some people do use them, but it seems to me the main focus, the primary focus when it comes to people and their ships is either medium or large ships. Now, the reason I'd like to see smaller ships is I think it opens up the possibility for future gameplay. I would really like to see Frontier release and design some unique missions that require smaller ships. Not just in the sense that they can only be achieved with a smaller ship because you only get the mission if you've got a small ship, but rather because the mission itself is designed with smaller ships in mind. For example, for flying around the interior of smashed up shipwrecks or station wrecks. In other words, the missions, brand new missions that require smaller ships. This is something I'd certainly like to see in the future. If you've got any ideas of what you'd like to see in the future, do let me know in the comments section. That brings us to the end of this video with everything we know so far about the Panther Clipper. Thanks for watching this video all the way through. There is another one on the screen right here if you'd like to watch that one. Take care, and I'll catch you next time. See you soon.